Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, and this is going to be my comic review for DC's Batman Secret Files, Peacekeeper, and #1. Who's, What's, When, Where? The writer is Ed Brisson. It's also got plot by James Tynion, but art is Josh Hixson, color is Roman Stevens, and letters is Travis Lanham. This is actually going to be a really short review because there's not a lot that went in the comic. It is a big and detailed story, but most of the part of the comic is pretty much Sean Mahoney, Peacekeeper 1, who is kind of just on the run. So it's pretty much all action. The story starts out and he's on the run. You know, I think it takes place between I want to say Batman 113 and 114. It's right before the showdown with Peacekeeper X. But basically, and you could even say it's like right before, because it kind of lines up that way. But basically, it's Sean Mahoney on the run from the magistrate. They're trying to get control of him because he has been intoxicated with the new fear, toxin. It's not really a toxin anymore. It's more psychedelic in the head kind of stuff. But Sean Mahoney is running. He believes everybody's like demons, and everybody's trying. He's killing along the way, that kind of stuff. Eventually, they do send 2 peacekeepers after him, which he eventually kills. One in a car, and one he like pulls out of the car after hopping on the car, and then the other one he just like makes it crash off a bridge, and that guy dies when he hits the ground. The whole time Simon Saint is in the background with the magistrate, and he is like trying to do different things to capture Sam Mahoney, and he wants Mahoney back, but he also wants the suit back. The suit is like millions and millions of dollars, and I mean, it's like a multiple reason, but he doesn't want Peacekeeper 1 running amok in the city killing people, and he's trying to become the good guy in the situation. But eventually, Mahoney does end up going to hide, and he picks several different places. The first place is a bridge, and it has importance to the Mahoney family. And then they kind of do, they do a flashback, and they go back into, Mahoney's father. And basically, he was a detective that worked on GCPD, and eventually, like the Mahonies, you find out, have always been invested throughout Gotham, but they've always worked on the police side or the firefighters, something like that. The bridge that he goes to actually has a plaque that actually has, his, I think it's his great-grandfather's name on the plaque, because he was one of the people that helped build that bridge. And it's kind of like an irony thing, because on the plaque, the name isn't even spelled wrong, and the flashback goes into how the Mahonies have always been disrespected and that kind of stuff. Eventually in the flashback, you do learn, one, that Mahoney's dad is a jerk and a bad guy. He mistreated Sean throughout his whole lifetime and stuff like that, but eventually starts building him up to kind of be a bad cop, because he starts taking him on like police missions and stuff like that, where they were taking bribes or killing witnesses or something like that, And the way the dad states it is like, look, if we don't do this, then Gotham just runs free, with us doing this little bit of evil, it prevents a whole lot of evil from happening. So Sean Mahoney, growing up, kind of agrees with that for a time. They go back into Sean Mahoney, running around in Gotham, still trying to evade the magistrate, and eventually he does make it into his father's bar, and they do a little flashback as soon as he gets to the bar, and you find out at one time when Sean Mahoney was going to school, he was his whole a school bus was kidnapped by the Mad Hatter, and they were all subjected to his Mad Hatter technology, where they were all, doing things out of their control. After everybody was saved and Batman saves the day and the police get all the children where they were supposed to be, Sean Mahoney goes home and he gets beat by his dad. Instead of his dad being like, hey, are you okay, son? You got kidnapped by a supervillain, right? No, his dad sees it as him being like weak, that he couldn't, subdue the mind control thing, and he beats the crap out of him for it, even though I think at the time he was like 8. So it goes back to the bar scene, and of course, as he's in the bar, his dad happens to be there, and his dad, approaches him with the back of the head with a shotgun, and he's like, who are you? And and Peacekeeper turns around and he's like, yeah, it's me, Dad. And basically he tells him that it was always his fault, that the reason he's failed and this and that. They do another flashback where they go into peacekeepers, that he was trying to become a police officer or a detective himself with the GCPD. Eventually they do show that his father gets kicked off the GPCD, is caught taking bribes, and this ties into this because he is going into the interview by none other than James Gordon, and James Gordon is reviewing him. He does ask him questions, and it seems like all the questions he fails, and they're not answers that anybody that's trying to be a policeman would give. But basically Gordon's like, look man, I know your family, and I don't like to judge based on family, but everything that we have from you, you seem like you're going to be a serial killer or something like that. And so from this point on, as long as I am the commissioner of the GCPD, we're not going to accept your applications anymore. And I think that was the 8th time he failed to apply for the GCPD. It goes back to him and his dad, and he goes back into the whole this whole failure is you, it's always been you. You've always blamed the family failures on me, and I haven't even had a chance to fail yet. They do go one more flashback, and it's Sean Mahoney getting his job at the Arkham Asylum as a security officer, and they do show you that he goes through and they're kind of a little aware of his his psych eval and all the times he's applied to the GCPD, but they take him anyways. And at one time he does pass themselves with Jarvis Tech, aka the Mad Hatter is. They go back to him and his dad, and eventually he beats the crap out of his dad and just tells him that he's done with the family, and he leaves, that he's going to be better than his family, and he leaves the bar. It's not like where he beats him to death, he just maybe knocks him around a little. But they do go back into the flashback, and this time it is at A-Day, and supposedly Mahoney beat the crud out of Mad Hatter, claiming that he was trying to escape. And while this is going down, and this is where we meet Dr. Joy, but this comic was titled that this was her first appearance. As far as I could do my research, she showed up in a comic like 3 weeks ago in Arkham City, New Order of the World. So it's not her first appearance, it would be like her second or something like that. Maybe in continuity, because it is a flashback, and this is the first time we saw Dr. Joy so far back in the past, but it is not her first appearance. But so Dr. Joy, being the psychologist at Arkham Asylum at that time, basically they reveal that they captured Mahoney, do the whole scandalous thing that he does to Mad Hatter, and they said that they got it all on camera, and at this time that they're going to be firing him. He's never going to be allowed to work at Arkham Asylum again. They kind of show him just running back into Gotham away from the flashback, and then they give us one more flashback where they show the events of A-Day going down, and the gas is filling up through Gotham, people are dying, and it shows us like 2 or 3 different scenes. It shows this one scene where Mahoney, like during all this chaos, actually knowing that the Arkham is not going to be fine, he actually takes a bunch of oxygen tanks and he puts them in the I don't know what you call it. It's the dang, I'm drawing a blank, but it's the like information, it's the where they keep all the files on all the Arkham inmates and all the files on the people that work there, and he basically takes those oxygen tanks in there in the hopes that they're going to explode because the fire in Arkham Asylum is spreading. And eventually we do know that that's what causes the massive explosion that happens at A-Day, because as far as we know, whoever set the gas, and they're blaming Joker, but we don't know that for a fact, but all that happened at A-Day was that gas was released, and then an explosion happens. Well, we now found out that the explosion happened because of Sean Mahoney. He was trying to get rid of all those records, and of course the records that they just made on him. At the very end, they do show what he became famous for, and he does end up saving 3 other workers at Arkham Asylum, but the only reason that he went to go save those people is because they were they were too close to where he put those oxygen containers where they were going to explode, and he felt bad that he was going to kill regular people, so he does go back in and he saves those people. Thus he gets that status of yeah, he's a hero, and then from that point on, we do know that he becomes Peacekeeper 1. And the story at that moment just leads right into Batman 113, where he's about to go into the fight with Peacekeeper X. And that is this issue. Overall, it was a really good issue. I want to say the art for me was a half-half. Looking at it first, I wasn't a big fan of it, but as the comic goes, it's actually really nice. It sets up like a period piece or something like that, almost like a flashback. So you know, the art was, I would say it was like, you know, it was good. It was standard. It wasn't the best I've ever seen, of course, and the story is not the best I've ever seen. But as far as getting to know a little bit about Sean Mahoney and stuff like that, and I have this weird feeling that they're about to do the whole like switcheroo with Sean Mahoney, where right now he is one of the villains, and not really a villain. He's just a force that's running around. But I do believe that we might get to see like a redemption arc from Sean Mahoney, and he might become like another Ghostmaker or another Batman, you know, something like that. But this is my review, all that good stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, you know, hit me up, you know, and hopefully y'all having a good Monday out there. I'm gonna try and do a couple more before I end this day, but y'all have a great one, and I'll see y'all later. Bah!